310 cases of coronavirus have been confirmed in the United States. In today's headlines, the FBI is looking for pictures of two missing kids in Yellowstone National Park. J.J. Vallow and Tyree Ryan were with their mother on September 8th of last year. Lori Vallow is now facing charges of desertion, and her kids haven't been seen since that trip to the park. Now we're moving from Northwest fire to Tucson fire. The Tucson City Council is considering a ban on the use and disposal of a certain firefighting foam within city limits. During last week's study session, Council member Steve Kozachik directed city staff to draft an ordinance banning the use and disposal of the fluorinated foam. Kozachik wants the ban because the foam contains a toxic compound that has contaminated water wells in Tucson in the past.
We may not be able to tell.
Back in 2018, two water wells near Davis-Monthan were shut down after they were contaminated with the toxins. They were immediately shut down, and Kozachik says city attorneys have 30 days to draft an ordinance. After that, the topic will be brought up in a meeting. Not on your side's Craig Smith was at the Bernie Sanders rally in Phoenix, and he joins us live with the details. Craig. Our Natalie Tarangeli is live in southeast Tucson, where the thunder, lightning, and rain have been fierce, and now people are seeing a lot of damage. Natalie, what are you seeing? Arizona's unemployment rate dropped 1/10 of a percentage point last month, and it now stands at 4.7% after adding more than 34,000 jobs in November. The State Office of Economic Opportunity says 3 million people were employed in non-farm jobs over the month. That's about 2.5% from October. Now, the business sector also added more jobs in trade, transportation, and in utilities. So my question for you is this.
Okay.
Jacket or no jacket?
Well, probably need a jacket during the overnight hours and the early morning, but boy, in the afternoon, it's going to be...
All right. County voters have said no to higher taxes in the past, but one local organization is asking voters to rethink their stance on higher taxes. Officials say Jordan Sims claimed that a Safford police officer sexually assaulted her, and now that officer is on administrative leave. Sonu Wasu has the latest on the case. Tonight, a Tucson City Councilman says he's opening his doors to help migrants when they need a place to stay. President Donald Trump is expected to sign a new bill that cracks down on robocalls, and it requires your phone carrier to do most of the work. The impeachment process is now moving forward as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi sets a date for when the articles will be sent to the Senate. And right now, Broadway just between Prudence and Pantano is shut down. That's because Tucson police say a suspect is barricaded inside of an apartment. The suspect might also be suicidal, so they're asking drivers to avoid the area. We'll have more on this developing story, so follow KGUN 9 for some updates. Continuing coverage now on Maricopa County Assessor Paul Peterson's alleged adoption scheme. The woman who helped him, Linwood Jennett, pleaded guilty to 4 felonies this week. Attorney General Mark Brnovich says she helped bring expectant mothers from the Marshall Islands to Arizona, where they were being paid big money to give up their babies. Once the mothers arrived, she set them up with a place to stay so they could qualify for Arizona's Medicaid program to pay for the birth.
I'm not going to comment anything specific on the Paul Peterson case.
And as part of her plea deal, the remaining 45 counts against her were dropped. Tonight we have an update on a man who's been battling City Hall to save his property because vagrants literally took it over. Last month we told you about Glenn Wolfgang and how his property on East Mojave Road was ruined while he was out of town working. After years of trying to fix it up, he says vagrants continue to tear down his repairs. On October 23rd, the city finally told him that he had to get the property up to code or they would tear it down. The homeless homeowner went to court and found out that his time is almost up.
I thank the board and the city for looking at what's going on. And
Glenn says he has 60 days to decide on trying to get his home in shape or let the city demo the property and put a $42,000 lien on the land. Ted DeGrazia's unique Southwestern and Mexican style still brings thousands of visitors to his gallery in the sun 37 years after his death. A 22-year-old St. Louis man is now charged with second-degree murder, and reports say the victim was his own son. Good news, a cheaper generic EpiPen will soon be available. Mylan, the maker of the life-saving allergy treatment, made the announcement today. The generic version will be available in a few weeks and cost around $300 per 2-pack. The branded EpiPen has a price tag of more than $600, and Mylan's creation comes after national outrage over the branded version's high price. 2 top cops in Maryland Heights have been placed on paid leave, and it's all because city leaders say complaints about an unfair work environment are causing problems there. News 11's Kelly Hoskins is in Richmond Heights with what attorneys are saying about the case. St. Louis political leaders are waiting to hear the ruling in a case over absentee ballot irregularities in a Democratic primary race last month. News 11's Betsy Bruce is downtown outside the Civil Court building with an update. Thousands are now without power, but the storm is not done. Along with parts of the East Coast, threats of floods and dangerous riptides are expected through the Labor Day weekend. Chris Welch has the latest. Illinois continues to struggle without a full year's budget and record-breaking state employee pension shortfalls. That's why Governor Bruce Rauner is out campaigning for a new system to create more competitive legislative districts. No one won last night's $500 million Mega Millions drawing. Doggone it, Dan Gray.
You're still here at work.
I know. You too.
Expecting you off on an island somewhere.
No.
Yeah.
So the jackpot is again growing even larger, and so are the dreams of those who are playing. A Granite City man is charged with burglary after police say he forced his way into a Fairview Heights home with a crowbar. Our partners at the Post-Dispatch report 43-year-old Scott Braswell was arrested Sunday night after a neighbor saw him breaking into a home on Lucinda Drive. When police arrived, he ran into a wooded area nearby and was tracked down by a canine. There's new hope today that thousands of laid-off steel workers in Granite City may get their jobs back. The CEO of U.S. Steel says he hopes to restore 10,000 jobs in the U.S., saying he's optimistic the new Trump administration will renegotiate trade deals. About 1,500 workers were laid off from the Granite City plant last year, including the man who's officiating this prep basketball game. You can see him there. Residents say the layoffs rippled throughout the entire city, affecting businesses and the school district, but they're optimistic about the possibility of the jobs returning to the area.
Well, that would be fantastic.
The CEO did not provide a timeline of when those jobs will be restored. Our top stories at 4 still ahead. Police in Kansas City are trying to track down a suspect in a deadly rush hour shooting on a busy highway. And gut-wrenching times for the Brazilian soccer players who didn't make the flight that crashed and took the lives of their teammates. Well, there are families in Tucson who are struggling to meet the financial demands of day-to-day life, and some worry about how they will find a gift for their kids on Christmas morning. Well, the Salvation Army stepped in to help today, and it's their annual toy giveaway for low-income families. Workers say about 1,500 families signed up to receive toys, adding up to 4,000 kids.
I'm getting so many emails.
The Salvation Army is still collecting toy donations at their hospitality house on Main Avenue.
Snow on the way.
Okay, I'll keep my warm drinks and my snuggly blankets and my Santa
Hot
hat.
chocolate with this hat.
Yes,
would be good.
sounds good.